Hey there, Stampers. Happy Friday. Welcome to another Facebook Live. Today we are talking all about slimline cards, which seems to be a really big trend right now. My name is Sherry Roth. I'm a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Canada, and every Friday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, I go live with a fun crafting project. Okay, so today we are talking, like I said, all things slimline cards. Good morning, Kim. First let's talk about what a slimline card is. Basically, it's a long, narrow card, or tall, narrow, because you could do it this way too. It measures 8.5 inches across, 3.5 inches down, folded. So your card base would be 8.5 inches by 7 inches and then scored at 3.5. And I'll give you tips on cutting and scoring in a minute here. They are great for scene building cards. Anything that, if you've got greetings or images that are kind of long and narrow or tall and narrow, they're great for that. If you do cards for your office staff or coworkers, you know, where a card that you're giving, it's their birthday and you want everybody in the office to sign, this size card is great because look at all the real estate that you have for people to write in here. So it is a great card design for that. Of course my phone is going to ring. Let's hope somebody upstairs answers it. So those are some uses for cards. So I know the first question I'm going to get is, what do you do for envelopes? Okay, well, you have a couple choices. So I actually ordered these slimline envelopes online, and I will post a link in the description above where I got them. I think it was from envelopes.com, but I'll post a link to the specific ones that I bought. These particular envelopes measure, they're a size number 9, which I used to work in office supplies. So it used to be a size that was quite common and you could pick it up at your local stationery store. Now, when I was looking for envelopes, they are not so popular anymore. They were not the easiest envelopes to find. They measure 3 7/8 by 8 7/8. So the other thing that you can do is you can use a regular size number 10 envelope. So this is, so you can see it's a little bit bigger, but it would still work. And if you wanted a less expensive envelope, something that was a little easier to find, then the number 10 envelopes, you can get them anywhere. I think you can actually even get a box of them at the dollar store. So these ones measure 4 1/8 by 9 1/2. So you can see that they're slightly larger, whereas the slimline envelopes are meant to fit a more like the slimline card. Okay, so those are your two options for envelopes. This was a card that I shared a couple weeks ago when I did my post on one card layout and 5 different card designs. This was one of the card designs that I shared. So we're going to create another slimline card today, and I cannot wait to share this one with you. I love how it turned out. Love, love, love. And I had so much fun creating it that I've decided that for the month of September, I'm calling it Slimline September. And every Saturday, we're going to have a Slimline Saturday. So you can visit me on my blog or on my YouTube channel. And there will be photos and a video every Saturday for the month of September featuring a different slimline card. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The stamp sets that I'm using today are the Celebrate Sunflowers, still one of my favorites. Love, love, love this set. Every time I pull it out, it just gets me excited. I love it. And then I needed a different greeting set, and I wanted to use this one. This is the Best Year. I believe, if I remember correctly, this is the stamp set that goes with the Plaid Builder dies. So I love sets that are all greetings. So I really wanted to use this one, but there's some great ones in here. There's Warm Wishes for Happy Christmas. There's some Father's Day. There's a dad set in here, and there's inside and outside greetings. So it's a great greeting set. Okay. All right. So let's see. Okay. I said that I was going to share tips on cutting. So let's do that first. So I am starting with a piece of Whisper white cardstock. This is an 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock. Hello, everyone. And so we've got the 8.5 inch side across the top. Actually, nope. We're going to have it the 11 inch side across the top. And we are going to cut it at 7 inches so that will give us our card base. So this will measure 7 across by 8.5. Good morning, Andrew and Mary Liz. Oh, you're watching at Denny's. That's pretty cool. Okay, and then we're going to move it over and we're going to score it at 3.5 inches. Happy birthday, Mary Liz. And I am going to score it at 3.5 inches. Okay, so that is our card base. Now with this leftover piece, for this particular card design that I'm going to make, I can use this leftover piece as one of my layers. So this is 8.5 inches by whatever's left. I need to cut it down to 3 1/8. So 3 1/8. And I will have all of these measurements on my blog afterwards as well, by 8 1/8. So if you guys want to recreate this card, because you're going to want to, wait till you see it. Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay, so that's going to be a layer, and then I need a layer for in between so that I can make that. I don't want to have white on white. So I'm bringing in a piece of cinnamon cider. I keep wanting to call it brown sugar. It reminds me of baked brown sugar. So this piece I am cutting down to 3 1/4 by 8 1/4. So I've got the 11-inch side across. I'm going to cut it at 3 1/4. And then I don't need this anymore, so we'll set that aside and rotate it and cut at 8 1/4. Okay, so for now, those are all the pieces that I need. We're gonna do one of my favorite backgrounds. We're gonna use the sponge brayer and do an ombre background. Just gonna grab a piece of scrap paper here. Start of a day of pampering. What else have you got planned for your birthday? It does look like actual brown sugar, doesn't it, Shauna? Okay, so I've got 2 sponge brayers here. They come in a package of 2 and you get 4 little sponges. And I've got 3 colors of ink that I'm going to use. So I've got So Saffron, Crushed Curry, and Pumpkin Pie. So I'm going to start with the lightest color. So I'm going to use So Saffron. And if you are not familiar with our sponge brayers, what you want to do is you want to ink up the sponge brayer like this. So you don't want to go back and forth, because then you're just inking a portion of the brayer. You want to ink it all the way around so you get that consistent inking. Good morning, Sheila. I'm going to start off of the cardstock, because when you first put it down, that's always where the strongest ink is going to be. And I'm going to gradually move down my card. And then re-ink and do the same thing. So just back and forth. And the other thing that I'm doing is I'm not going over the same spot over and over and over again, because then you'll get a harsh line. So make sure that you're moving it kind of up and down. Okay, you're never going over the same spot over and over and over. Okay, so that's it for So Saffron. Now I'm going to use Crushed Curry. I'm going to use the same sponge brayer, just because we're going into the same color, just a little bit darker. This time I'm just going to roll it off a little bit here and then go a little bit higher. And you can see that I'm going over where I ended with the So Saffron, because I want there to be a nice smooth transition. So I'm just going to keep going until I get it as dark as I want it. And I definitely want it darker than this, because I'm going for like a little ombre look. So for those of you who are just joining in, I am actually doing a Slimline card today. And this is to kick off my Slimline September. Every Saturday for the month of September, I will be featuring a different Slimline card. Okay, I'm really happy with that. I like the look of that. And then the last color will be Pumpkin Pie. For this one, I'm going to switch out and use this sprayer. And these just pop out. They just pop out like this. So you can rinse them and then use them in whatever color. So you can see that this one I obviously used in a red based. It's stained red. But once you rinse it out and squeeze it till there's no color that comes out in the water, then it's clean and you can reuse it in any color. Okay, so I'm just going to keep repeating that. This time I'm going to start from this end. So I'm just going to flip that around. And just keep going. And again, I'll go over that transition spot so that it looks like the colors are a little bit more blended. And I'll just keep adding layers until it gets as dark as I want it. The other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to push too hard, especially when you're inking your brayer, because if you push too hard, then that's when these sharp corners will dig into your ink pad, and they'll scratch your ink pad, and you don't want that. Okay, I think maybe just one more. Maybe one more coat, and then I think that'll be good. There. Oh, it's so pretty. I love this. I love my sponge brayers and ombre. I don't know. I just love it. Okay. So let me bring that a little closer so that you can see. Look how pretty that is. So pretty. So pretty. Okay, we're going to do one more thing with this. Well, actually, we're going to do a few more things with it. This next trick is I want to add some water splots on there. So I've got this is the thinnest water painter, and I'm just going to squeeze it on here. So this is just a clear block, and you can use any piece of plastic, that's fine. And I'm going to splatter. And this technique works really great. The darker your ink, the more noticeable it is. Okay, so I've splattered it. Now I'm going to take, this is just a paper towel. I'm just going to dab off that water. So let me bring this, bring this a little closer. Can you see those water spots? Like especially down there, you can really see it. So it just takes some of the ink off and just gives the background just a little bit of character. So that's a really easy technique to do. Okay. And now I guess I need to bring that back because I still need this. Actually, we're going to give this a minute to dry before I do anything else. Okay, we'll set that aside. We're going to do something else first. Okay, so I need a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I've got my greeting. So this is the thank you for all that you do, or all that you are, sorry. And I'm going to bring in the cinnamon cider ink. And I know that's a great way to splatter, isn't it, Shauna? Actually, one of my customers, Melissa, showed me that. I usually take like just a regular paintbrush and like a little dish of water, and then another separate dish with a drop of ink refill. But what you could do is you could take your ink pad and just rub your ink pad right on here, and then use the same technique with your aqua painter. Squeeze your aqua painter, get some water in there, and then just splatter like that. So it's a really quick and easy way to splatter. Okay, so I've got that done. And then I'm going to use the Tasteful Labels dies. So I'm going to use this one right here. I'm going to bring in my new Big Boss machine. So this is our new die cutting machine, which will be available to order September 1st for customers. Demonstrators were able to order it beginning at the beginning of August. And I am going to position this so that it is a little bit further to the left-hand side. So it's not going to be centered. Okay, I think that looks straight. When it's not centered, it's always harder to make sure that it's straight. Feed that through. Okay, now we'll move this out of the way. Okay, so I've got my greeting. Good morning, Kathy. How are you? It's been a long time since I've seen you on one of my lives. Okay, so I'm going to bring back my scrap paper, bring back my layer, and we're going to do some stamping on top of this beautiful background. I'm going to use the large sunflower from the Celebrate Sunflower stamp set and some cinnamon cider ink. And I do find inking these larger stamps easier to do upside down. Okay, so I'm going to stamp it a few times. Let's do one up here. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh my gosh, I love it. Okay. And then we'll do another one over here. And then we'll add one more. Thank you for sharing, Joy. Oh, that just reminded me, I forgot to draw for prizes for last week. You know what? I'll have to pop in a little bit later. I've got a crazy busy day. By the end of the weekend, I will draw for prizes based on commenting and sharing from last week. So I will definitely do that. I'll jot it down after this live so that I don't forget. Man, it's been a crazy week. Okay, there we go. So that is really the focal point of our card. It's just so stunning. Let's put it on this black so that you can really see it pop. Look at that. So beautiful. Okay, so now we're going to bring back our layers. So our card base, and then our layer of cinnamon cider, and I got to grab my adhesive. I finally got my refills in for my seal. And this is going to go down the center. And our card is going to be vertical this time. So the first Slimline card that I showed you was a horizontal card. And this one is going to be vertical. Okay. And then before we stick this down, we're going to work on our greeting. So our greeting is going to go on here about there. But I want to add some accessories or embellishments. So I've chosen to use cinnamon cider ribbon and the bumblebee gingham ribbon. I think it's bumblebee. Yeah, it's bumblebee. And I'm going to cut 6 inches of both of those ribbons. Welcome, Helena from Nova Scotia. We're making a Slimline card, which I have seen around for a while. I've been wanting to make them, and lately they seem to have exploded. Like everybody's making Slimline cards. So they are so fun. It's just fun to do something a little bit different. So I'm going to put the 2 ribbons together like this, and they are going to get tucked kind of underneath my greeting. So I'll just add a little bit of adhesive, and I know I'll have to add some mini glue dots to hold it in place. Actually, I want to do it like this. that. And I'll grab some mini glue dots and might take your pick tool. Okay, oh, maybe I just need one. Slide that in there, just like that. And then I'm going to use a couple dimensionals. So I'm going to put one right on the edge here, and then one kind of where I can see the end of the word. I'm just going to tuck that in behind there because I'm going to trim off the end of this label shape. Thank you, Lynn. Okay, let's make sure we've got it straight here. Move it over so I make sure that I'm not cutting off my U. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to grab my longer handled scissors here, or longer bladed scissors. There we go. Okay, so now we can attach this to our card base. I'm just going to use just regular flat adhesive. Oops. Oh, so pretty. Okay, and then the last thing I want to do is I want to add some little embellishments. So I'm going to use the yellow sequins from, I think these are called the Artistic Bloom sequins, and they're self-adhesive. The other thing that's different about them is they don't have a little hole in the center, which I love. I love that they don't have the hole in the center is what I mean. I'm gonna add one there, another one up here, and I'm being careful not to cover my little splotches of water because I love that look. And another one there. And there we go. Now we've got another beautiful slimline card. Isn't that pretty? And then here's the first one that I shared. No, Deborah, I would probably stick with 8.5 by 11. At the beginning of this video, I shared how to cut your card because your card base is 8.5 inches by 7 inches. So you waste less. You don't have to cut it at the on the 8.5 side. You just cut it on the 11-inch side. Cut it at 7 inches, and then you've got a strip at the end, which that strip I trimmed down a little bit and used for this layer. So 8.5 by 11 is still better for slimline cards. And Barb, I shared tips on the envelopes at the beginning of this video, and I'll link to where I got the envelopes. Just to recap, I purchased slimline envelopes, which are let me just go back to the size, 3 7/8 by 8 7/8, but you can also use number 10 office size, business size envelopes. So they're a little bit different. Let me hold the card up here so you can see the difference. So they're a little bit bigger, but they still work. Okay, so I will link where I got my slimline cards in the description above, or if you're watching on YouTube, in the description below. I know, Christine, I've been seeing them everywhere, and they are so fun. They're so addictive. So that brings me back to just reminding you guys, make sure that you follow along on my blog or on YouTube for the entire month of September. Every Saturday in September, I'm going to feature a different slimline card. All right? So thanks so much for watching, guys. Remember that if you comment below, if you share this post or this video, sorry, you get entered to win a prize, and I will send you this card. I'll draw next week, and I still haven't drawn for last week, so I will do that by the end of the weekend. We've got a crazy couple days here. I've got my Boho Indigo mini retreat tomorrow, and I'm still not finished filming the videos, so I still got lots of stuff to do to finish up. All right, so thanks so much for watching. I'll have a full supply list in the description above or below if you're watching on YouTube, and have a fabulous weekend. Take care. I will see you soon.